again, happy for our team. Get back and win a game. Felt good for them. Enjoyed it. Get that feeling back. Learn some of the things you have to do. Again, still got to, always want to play better. But guys played hard. Did what they had to do. Situations, not tough circumstances as far as conditions, but everybody's got the same conditions. To me, that's what makes football unique. You could be in 6 foot of snow in Buffalo right now. You could be somewhere else in a rainstorm or a snowstorm, and that's what makes football a unique sport and changes games based off of that. So it was good job by our guys. Watching the film defense, I thought we did a really nice job in the game. They had one drive there that they had some formations and some motions that got us out of whack, and then we made adjustments and did a really nice job. The rest of the game held them pretty much in check everywhere, controlling the line of scrimmage, getting off the field on third down, doing a really nice job. Kicking game was we didn't hit some field goals, which is tough conditions, slipped on one and the others, and made a couple. Kickoffs were solid, had one coverage. We had a guy miss a tackle, and then he bounced out and got to the 30, but, not a big one, but, we could have had it back. And I thought we did a nice job of catching punts. The wind and those shorter punts and ball being hard to kick farther. I thought we got up there and Moose got to the ball, which I think as punt returners, the number one thing you got to do is try to catch every ball as a punt returner. You never let that ball hit the ground because most of the time it's not good for you. You lose yardage or somebody gets hit with the ball, and thought that was critical. Did a nice job in that regard, doing those things. Thought offensively moved the ball. Unfortunately, had 3 turnovers, which is, you can't have. Had one at 11, one at 14, and one at 32 going in on drives. And 2 missed field goals, and had some opportunity on some points there that we wish we had some more and we're there to do it. And can't let that. Got to get that worked out. Make sure the ball security this week, and which we work on every week. But unfortunately, we had that there and didn't do what we need to do. But at times threw the ball well. In some really tough conditions early. If you watch some of those passes early, where the ball was, we got some balls treated a little bit better and got them to where we could at least grip them and throw a spiral. There were some. You were pushing it with your hand, which sometimes you do. I've been in those cities. I grew up in that weather, and sometimes you have to. But guys made some catches, made some plays there, and then the running games that got on better and better. And I thought as we went, one thing was uncharacteristic in the film as you watch some of the running game. Offensive line, we had a few mistakes here and there, but we got to do a better job at tight end right there. We had some issues there, just cut-off blocks and steal blocks. Runs could have really came out in some big-time situations that really would have helped us. But, as Donno's first game back, and he had a fumble, but he had a couple really nice catches. He's going to be a good player, and getting Blake back out there. Got to get a couple of those things ironed out and then get better. Get ready this week and go play a great LSU team. Questions?
Down front, Brent, and then to the left.
My first question for you, what would a win for y'all mean on Saturday night against LSU and going into the offseason as well?
Well, I think it's huge. Again, the future of what you have here, which we believe is extremely bright, where we're going and what we're doing, and these guys playing together and being together. And I think for the seniors, a great send-off in the last time they walk in that stadium, and learning that another lesson of persevering, of not letting circumstances dictate who you are and what you are, but how you deal with them and what you persevere through. And I think it'd be great for those seniors, and it'd be a great message for those young players going into the offseason.
To the left, Zach, and then to the right, Cole.
Being a perseverance, obviously some injuries to some key guys. Do you see Evan Stewart and Devon Achane coming back this week?
Very hopeful. I'm very optimistic about that. I can't say that for sure. You don't ever day-by-day things, but feel very, very optimistic.
To the right, Cole. And
they're pushing, I'll say that. They've been working their tails off.
Jimbo, you got to spend a little bit of time throughout the recruiting process with Harold Perkins. What is it about him that has made him such a unique player this early in his career? Well, I think, one, Harold's very gifted. We knew that. I watched him as great as he's playing on defense. You watched him in high school, you could argue he was as great an offensive player as he was a defensive player. I think he averaged, 10 yards a carry? Wasn't it something like that he averaged per carry in high school? Was really athletic, ball-skilled, really good basketball player. You can just see a natural athlete. He's great in space, rushing, playing, physical. And he's a very intelligent young man. We knew going in he was a very, very highly recruited guy that we tried to recruit. We were in on for a long time, and just one of the ones that got away. But he's a very good player. It was great. I enjoyed being around him and his family. And then when you look at a guy like Jaden Daniels, he's played in 3 different style of offenses, especially from the Pac-12. Has that maturity helped him maybe translate over to LSU? Well, I think anytime, again, you've been on the field, and that's what I keep saying in college. I say college football, but college sports in general, whether it's basketball and football especially. In baseball, you tend to get a little bit older type guys for some reason, and guys stay. But, getting guys that have played a lot of football, been in a lot of games, been in a lot of situations, there's not, tons of that in college football now.
because the great ones, they play a little bit early and then they're out of there. Or if they don't, if you don't play the freshman and have a great sophomore, junior year, second year, you're going. But this guy's played 3 years, been on the field. You can see from the beginning of the year to year getting more comfortable with their offense. He can beat you with his legs, his arm, very composed, very poised, and really, as I say, not sneaky. He's very athletic, but he does it very smoothly. He's not out of control in how he does, and he's a really good player. He's made a lot of good plays for them, critical moments.
Left side, third row, Dennis, and then
Jim,
Travis.
Jimbo, I think Sunday's going to be the first time in your career you won't be getting ready for a championship game and or a bowl. Besides recruiting, end of the season meetings, what's your focus going to be right away?
The issues and things we have to do to get back on top. I mean, and are constantly, but when you're doing the season, it's much harder. But putting things in perspective, we have to always evaluate, be on top of, and get A&M right back to where it belongs and where it should be.
And then a general question, how hard, well, we know how hard it is, but how difficult it is to find those guys that can play the nose in the defensive line that with one play can alter a game? Go ahead.
No, we'll keep going in that question, but you're right. I mean, it's ironic because the nose takes such a big body, and sometimes those guys that can really play there can't play the three because of the space that's required. But we've got a guy that can do that, and we've got a couple guys I think in the future really going to do that. And because like you can play the nose and be a run stopper, but to be a run stopper and then be able to have that explosion, the explosiveness to be able to pass rush with it, man, those guys are very rare. And I think we got some guys in our future here that are going to be able to do that, and hopefully just get better and better. But those are very, very hard to find.
Do you understand why, just because of that, the rarity of that, like they can make $20 million a year?
Oh, I do. And if you, like I say, you look in the NFL now, it used to be the farther away from the ball you went, the more money you made. You know what I'm saying? The ends made more in tackles, offensive tackles made more in guards and centers, receivers made more in tight ends, corners made more than safeties. But that's changing in the world today. You know what I mean? You look at a lot of your great pass rushers today, and Aaron Donalds, for instance, of the world and things like that, that interior push and interior explosion to be able to create negative plays, whether it's run with the change of direction and the burst, or the pass rush because you're so worried and athletic on the edge, and you can get athletic tackles on guards. Those guys now are the guys making all the money, and the game has changed that way. They're paying a lot more for interior guys than they ever did, and that's why I think you're seeing in the NFL draft, you're seeing more guards and centers valued even at a higher level. It's not all the time you have to have special guys because they know who you got special guys in your league or your conferences you got to block, and those guys are hard to find. It's a great point, Dan, a really good point, how the game is evolving and changing.
Front right, Travis, and then to the left, Sam.
Yeah, what has the season been like for you personally and kind of emotionally?
Well, I mean, the emotions you keep out of it. I mean, you're disappointed. You're trying to always find answers. Anytime you're not where you want to be, you're constantly looking, pushing, challenging, evaluating, changing, thinking. I mean, but it's part of life. I mean, it's just like if something bad goes in life, something bad happens in anything. I mean, it's no different in that perspective. But it makes you evaluate everything you do, what you do, and try to keep the guys and understand that you can't let circumstances define who you are. You can never let your circumstances define who you are. Now, doesn't mean you're content with them, you're happy with them, but how you go about your business in the daily process in which whether you're winning 11-0 or you're not having a season like we're not having right now at where we want to be. But your process of how you go about yourself and who you are as a person can't change, and it challenges you and it makes you, I think it'll make you stronger in the future. Hopefully you learn from it, but it's not fun when it's going on, I promise you that.
And then with a recent incident is P.J. Williams and Denver Harris. What's their status with the
That's
team?
all with the university and the judicial system and everything that goes on.
Are they still indefinitely suspended?
Yeah, nothing's changed in that regard.
To the left, Sam.
Jimbo, earlier, Layden Robinson was here. He said that, talking about the youth on this team, how many young guys you have, he said sometimes your mom tells you not to touch a stove and touch it anyway and get your hand burnt.
That's a great analogy.
How much does that kind of exemplify some of the struggles that you guys have gone through this year?
Well, I think, and this, you don't put it on that, but at the same time, that is part of growing up. I mean, and you do something. How many times in a row? It's like as I got older. When I was 10 or 11 years old, and I worked on the farm. I use that. It's a great analogies, life analogies to this success. I'm with my dad. Of course, you want to go play ball. You want to go be with your buddies. You want to go ride horses. Whatever you want to do. And no, we got to build this fence. This, for instance. Okay, and you're going and going and going, and you're there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you go, okay, we built a lot of fence. Now, can I go play? Is it done? Well, no, you can't go play. So my point is, your focus and concentration as you get older, you learn that I'm here till the job's done. And sometimes as a young guy, it's not that you don't think that, but sometimes if you take, man, I've done a lot today. Well, that's one play that slips. Now, maybe that's 2 plays that slip. You know what I'm saying? I think, and you have to train your body and mind to grind through till the job is done. And you say, well, that's an easy thing. No, it's not. Because think about anytime when you're youthful and things that go on and knowing, sometimes you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we have to educate and do that and keep pushing and challenging. But, these are a very good group of guys, and they're learning that each and every week.
And I know you mentioned just a minute ago you'll focus on what needs to change after the season. But I'm curious, is there anything that you look back on this year that you would do differently to change the
Well,
result?
I can't answer that now till I'm in it. I mean, when you're in the things, so you can sit back and really self-evaluate when you're not in a game. I've been watching film for 6 hours a day and thinking there may be something I'm not forgetting. I mean, you'll always look back. And because when things are never where you ought to be, obviously there's something you want to change, tweak, turn, or sometimes circumstances are nothing you can do, but most of them, you are. You got to be able to find that out. And I'll evaluate on that afterwards. I don't want to comment on that now because there may be something I miss or not think about right this present time because where my mindset is in game planning and doing the things we have to do this week for LSU.
Coach, back behind the lights to the left, Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Jimbo, you have another mobile quarterback you're going to be going up against this week at LSU. What's the area that you feel like you guys need to focus on the most, or what's key to?
Well, I think there's 2 kinds of mobile quarterbacks, and I mean this: ones that do it from run game mobility, in other words, plan runs, read runs, pyro reads while you're running that, and they're really trying to run him. You know what I mean? There's other, and whether it's interiorly, exteriorly, wherever. There's others where he may just be an exterior runner, or there's others who are very athletic, and people don't ever think about this. In your drop back game, spreading the field for running quarterbacks is just as good. Like when you talk about 2-point plays, sometimes it's better to drop back and spread the field and let athletic guys find seams and to roll them out because at least you pin him on that side of the field. I think one thing about Daniels is that they do have quarterback runs where they plan and pull reads and read the end and have a lead blocker for him, but he also gets a lot of it in the passing game because you have to cover their wideouts are very good, and you can't, single cover, some they double or push guys back, and he does it scrambling. So, I think 2 things. We got to have edges set, got to have understanding the pressure in which you have set and the leverage on him, not only the back and the guy coming to leverage the ball. And I think in the pass rush, being disciplined that you do not rush upfield past the passer. And once you get to the same level, you collapse to the upfield shoulder, you press the inside number, and the inside the pocket, you push it, and you make sure you don't get and you feel like you're getting pushed real wide. You got to fight back, even fight against pressure and fight back in to close the gaps. There's 2 different things in rush and leveraging the football out.
And then offensively, kind of what's the key to have success against this LSU defense?
Well, I think you got to be. You have balance. They're very physical inside. The backers are big and physical. They can cover it in the secondary, but they have great rush ends. And that's not count Perk. Perk. Everybody talks about Perk, but 18-8, all those guys. They can rush. They're pure pass rushers. You know what I'm saying? So you can't get one-dimensional. And I think you got to keep balance. And I think you got to keep guys balanced with run, pass, and whether you move the pocket, not move the pocket, how you protect different bumps, chips. I think you got to have the multiplicity of things to be able to do.
4th row on the left, Cease.
I didn't see him back there.
Other than playing Kelly, have you had any dealings with him?
Just a couple times we've been at functions together or just meetings. Other than that,
And when you look at the tape first of the year at LSU to now, what do you see different? What has he done to have this turnaround?
I just think they've gotten more comfortable with their schemes. You know what I mean? As you watch the scheme has stayed the same. The guys have gotten more comfortable, more consistent in what they've done. And the quarterback in some really critical plays and critical moments, I think, has made big plays with his legs and feet, and then throwing the football. Really making those plays there's 2 or 3 games that were one play games that they were able to get and gain confidence from, I think, early, and then they just kept building on those, and he's done a really nice job of that.
And one last thing, you're surprised that Mike Elko's had such quick success and, along those lines?
No, I knew Mike was a great coach and was going to do well. And, when we went over just how he's going to be a head coach, things he did and things he put in place, that does not surprise me at all. And like I say, Duke, they've had some great success in the past. Like I say, David's had some Cutcliffe had some tremendous success there at times. And I think Mike will do the same thing. Very good coach.
Down front, Brent, and then to the left side.
Jimbo, with the offseason getting here quicker than what you would like, do you anticipate any staff changes on the offensive side of the ball? And is that something you look at every year. At the
Yeah,
end
I
of
will
the
look at
season.
it every year. You look at it every year and what goes on. And I won't even, listen, we got to get through this game and then we'll evaluate everything just like we do.
Front left, Zach.
Jim, I know with the last game being against a non-conference opponent, there were quite a few empty seats towards the end of the game. You were asked about it afterwards. But whenever you look at coming into this game, people camped out, tents, things like that. Is that what does that mean to you as a coach, even in a difficult
Well,
year?
you're at a place where it matters, and that's what you want to be, and you knew that. I mean, last week in 30-degree weather, if I could have went inside, I might have went inside. It was rainy when it was 30-degree wind chill. I mean, I saw it across the country at a couple places. The film I was watching, the guys we was evaluating, I saw it on. There was a lot of places. I think once it got cold, they got out of there. That was in the South. That doesn't happen very often like that. You get warm rain, you don't get cold rain. And what we did. But no, I mean, you're at a place where it matters, and people matter here. And like I said, our fans are as good as there are in this country. The 12th man is as good a family and fan base as there is anywhere, and they're going to be supportive and do everything they can do. And, it makes you want to, again, continue to, even when things, like you say, you don't feel good, you're disappointed you didn't do things. Is it, like you say, what does that make you do? It makes you go out and to keep preparing, playing, and do your best because they deserve every ounce of energy you got to play your best.
Down front right, Cole.
Jimbo, when you look at Connor playing in the weather conditions last week, plus with him playing against an SEC defense before, multiple SEC defenses, did that give you an extra vote of confidence, not knowing what the weather conditions could be, and especially going up in the season finale?
Well, it does. I mean, anytime you get more time on the field, you get experience, you get things that go on. We know he has a chance of being a tremendously very, very, very good player. What goes on with him. But he's a hard worker. He's got a great future ahead of him. He's got to eat up with ability, eat up with his mind, his toughness, his competitiveness, all those things. And the more time he gets, the better he gets. And he's a guy who loves ball, and he learns from things very well.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your
Thank you,
time.
guys.
Appreciate it.